Now, I'm going to start off with a fun question for you.
Yes.
So, we're asking all the voice actors at Otakon this year about the Mount Rushmore question, which is if they built a Mount Rushmore of voice acting and you had to pick the four faces,
yes,
what would those four faces be?
It'd definitely be like Kevin Michael Richardson, John DiMaggio, Grady Lau, who else? It's four, right?
Yeah. You said Blank, Richardson. Did you say Blank?
No, I said Kevin Michael Richardson, John DiMaggio, Grady Lau, and I'm gonna go with we'll go with Phil Lamar. Phil Lamar.
Yes.
Onto that. Okay.
What kind of training have you done for voice acting? So actually you had your movie career
yes,
as a film actor, but then you made the transition to...
Yeah, for me, I just kind of stumbled into the voice acting side of the world. No real voice acting training, but 20 plus years of film and television training. So basically how I look at it, and I tell actors all the time that want to be voice actors, is just become a good actor, because it's really the same skill set. Just be a good actor, and there are certain cats that I've worked with, like the Mount Rushmore of voice actors that really have incredible technique, and you can get there. But start first and foremost off with becoming a fine actor, and it'll be a good path to get there.
Hi, I'm Monica. I represent her campus, VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University from Richmond, Virginia.
Hello.
Hi. And it's kind of a serious question, but as San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, Otakon, all these conventions are getting bigger and more popular, how do you think voice actors and actresses and the attendees themselves can do to raise awareness about the harassment that's been kind of popular in the media lately, and what we can do to prevent it at future cons?
It's important. Harassment in what particular category do you think?
I mean, sexual harassment, verbal harassment.
Yeah, there's, it's really, it's very, the popularity of the Comic-Con worlds or the fandom worlds or whatnot is beautiful, and it's really bringing awareness to an audience that has kind of like, it's very odd because it's been, the people that they forget, the quote-unquote nerds and geeks and whatnot who've become, ironically, the tastemakers of the big Hollywood machine over the last few years. And in that, as far as the harassment that goes on, the bullying online, even the sexual harassment needs to be handled to a certain degree. And I think it's just the audience kind of communicating with each other, and certain things, social justice. Sometimes social justice takes it to an nth level, but I think sometimes you need that just to have awareness of going, oh, this is not cool, or that's not cool. Even myself dealing with fan engagement in a way that we've never had in the 80s and 90s, and being really able to speak openly with fans, I've gotten a lot of lessons learned about various things from homosexuality to transgendered, where you got to understand that there's a lot of us that may not have had these communications in the past, and learning something new is just being able to go, wow, thank you for teaching me something new that I didn't understand, and that kind of teaching each other and learning each other new communication in this way is going to really open the world to kind of more understanding and more compassion amongst each other.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Carrie. I'm with Lunar Apocalypse and Mouthful of Toast.
Hello.
I guess they obviously made the recent announcement that Korra would be going to an online-only format.
Yes.
So what is your initial reaction to a franchise that you were so deeply involved in, kind of going, not necessarily under, but off
right.
airwaves?
There's two things. I think ultimately a lot of people freaked out because they feel like they're going under or whatnot. But it's, for at first I understood the whole backlash of people going, I can't believe they're bringing Korra to online. It's such a slap in the face to the Avatar franchise. But when I later thought about it more, I think, and I'm not sure because I'm not in contact with the higher-ups in Nickelodeon about their strategy plans, but my thing was, I really think actually they're using Korra's leverage to get people to go to online. So it's less of a slap in the face and really trying to use one of their most powerful franchises, their biggest franchise, to drive traffic to online, because the reality is the way media works, like all the media in this room, is online is where the media is at, where us as individuals and as independent sources are controlling the online traffic. Now the big companies, the Disneys, the Nickelodeons, the NBCs, they're trying to find a way into that. And actually, you know, it's the opposite of, it's not slapping the face to core. They're actually using the biggest franchise to try to get some online, you know, space and really own that space. So, and you can look at that either way too. But the reality is we're all going online. Media's going online. The big boys want to get their real estate online themselves. So that's really, I think, where it's going.
Okay, so I'm with Rerise Magazine, and basically what I want to ask you is how have your convention experiences been? I mean, how many cons have you attended before, and how each one feels different from the other?
Yeah, the con thing is still fairly new to me. I've been an actor for almost 30 years now, like 28, 29 years, which is crazy to even say. And I've been involved in, you know, with Rufio and this fantasy sci-fi world for a long time. But I never really did cons my whole career. I probably did 2 or 3 cons that kind of went out of the country because, you know, when you get a ticket to London or Australia, it's like, just go, you know. Yeah. And so I've done those like over the last 20-some years, but I've only started doing cons in America about a year ago. And Great Allow actually is the one who's like, Dante, you gotta do some cons. And I was like, really great? And she introduced me to her booking agent and kind of talked me into coming around and really getting involved in the con world, which has been a real eye-opening experience for me. It was coupled with that and also with my online engagement kind of growing over the last few years. I've worked with a lot of YouTube kids, and these kids, Kev Jumba, AJ Raphael, these kind of guys really opened my eyes to really me and cats like in my generation to really start going online and start to engage with the fans. And this kind of engagement has opened up my eyes to being able to, you know, to have a different relationship with the fan base these days. I think in the 80s and 90s, our mindset of what celebrity was is, you know, it was like the more famous you get, the more exclusive you are. Like no one was more famous as Michael Jackson or Madonna, you know, that kind of thing. And nowadays, the idea of celebrity and fame is totally changed. You have to be more open, and it's been kind of cool. It's like a learning curve to go on, but now, with the amount of people that I'm engaged with online, and then I finally get to meet them in person at cons and whatnot, it's become like a pretty wonderful experience.
Ari Rockefeller from AnimeJamSession.com.
It's going down.
How does it make you feel when you see people cosplaying as characters that you portray? Like you see some, like a Jake Long or Bat or obviously Zuko. How does that make you feel?
It's so awesome. You know, for years people will dress up as Rufio for Halloween, and like in Halloween I'll like get tons of pictures. Guys and girls dress up as this character that kind of impacted them. And then as I've been going through the con world this last year, seeing Jake Longs, Prince Zuko's, General Iroh's, tons of Rufios, it's really just, first of all, you find it very flattering that someone, anyone appreciates work that you've done in your career. And then beyond flattering, I become so impressed by the artistry that these new people have taken work that you've done and what's inspired them to do. In the end, I think cosplay is really a new art form, and the kids that are cosplaying today are taking it to a whole new level. But like most art forms, it's about expression, and you get to see this whole new generation of artists expressing themselves in a new art form, like, you know, sculpting, painting, this and that, or wardrobe is like this new way of looking at not just doing things to the T, but also people that do mashups and take 2 or 3 different genres or characters and creating new ways to do like wardrobes and think of a character in a new way, like a steampunk Iron Man or something like that. It's like the most amazing. It blows your mind.
Gina Callahan from Voice of America, English to Asia Division, and I opened up the questions to the public, and there's a huge response for you. Okay. But one question that came up often was actually about your slam poetry.
Okay.
And when will you write again? And when will you perform your slam again?
Yeah, so I started this poetry venue in Los Angeles called DPL, which is originally Dante's Poetry Lounge, which is the Poetry Lounge these days, and it's become the largest open mic venue in the country. So if you're in LA, you can catch me doing poems like almost every Tuesday night. Any Tuesday night, if you come to the Poetry Lounge, I'm liable to be there to drop a poem or two. I tour around still, doing a lot of poetry sets and always writing new stuff. So people that are interested in my poetry can go to my YouTube channel at the Dante Basco and see a bunch of my poetry works. I'm actually in the midst of putting together my next book, which is as of yet untitled, but I'm probably about a dozen poems into it. So I'm constantly, I mean, spoken word and poetry has been such a big part of my life and will continue to be, because it's really just me digesting all of this always and seeing how it affects me, and kind of like looking at it and just kind of write. It's my ongoing diary, if you will, just in verse.
Thank you.
We have time for one or two more. You first.
So your very first convention that you went to, take us through the decision process that you made when you decided to go to this convention, and what were some of the myths that were broken in your mind when you actually got there, you know, your expectations?
Yeah, I think the first one, was MetroCon, in Florida, and I don't know, it's, Gray and all these people, like, you just go to this con, and I've been to cons, like, in Australia and London, and very, I don't know, you're in a foreign country, so everything's foreign to you, but now you're in America, and you're going to this con, and I'm really, like, what do I do? Like, I don't know what I do. Like, am I supposed to bring anything? And what do fans want to know? Or, like, what are these panels? It was really I was happy to have some really great other voice actors there. For certain panels, Scott McNeil, who's become a friend, and it's very great. Because you get to be on panels and hear stories with other people, with other actors. The great thing that I found for myself doing these cons is I get to meet a bunch of actors or even actors that I know from LA, but we got to hang out in other places in the country or around the world. And I love actors, you know what I'm saying? And I love to talk acting and theater and film and television, hear their stories and see the things that we've kind of experienced that are the same, things that are different experiences, and learn from each other, so I can hang out with actors all day long. So that was kind of cool. And then also, like I said, over the last year or two, my like on Tumblr, I got 200,000 plus followers online, which is crazy, right? And you get to a situation where your relationship with them is you're answering all these questions and they're asking you these questions, and there's this real relationship you build with this audience, right? But it's still kind of this intimate, cool relationship. But me being old school is like, I want to meet you. It's like, I'm great to talk to you online and you kind of feel like you get to know people, but I was like, well, I'd love to see you, shake your hand, give you a hug, whatever. I mean, that's like our generation kind of thing, so it's been really cool to travel the country and actually get to put a face to some of these people that we've had these interactions online with.
You just mentioned your Tumblr.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, these days you're almost just as known for your Tumblr as you are for your
how weird is that?
for your acting career. So I was curious, how do you find time to get on social media, and how important is that relationship to you?
It's very important. It's the idea of these days with everything's about branding, right? It's your brand, this brand, and you're like, what does that mean? And then as you do social media, you start to understand what your brand is, or really what aspect of yourself that you choose to promote publicly, and are you willing to stand behind that brand, or that it's not a brand, it's just the aspect of yourselves. I mean, in reality, we all know we're human and we're all everything, right? But there are parts of us that we choose to accentuate for public, and there's issue that deals with issues, that deals with fashion, that deals with kinds of art that you want to promote and support. So it's been a very, very interesting thing, and I think 2 years ago when I started, I didn't know what I was doing. Years later, I'm out of college, and more than once, I think 2 or 3 people that, I don't know what class they were taking, but they wrote up a report on my social media, which is like, what are you talking about? I was like, what's your major? Like, what are you doing? It must be marketing or something, but they were just impressed with how I kind of deal with my social media and how my interaction with fans and my branding. And I don't really have a whole idea of what I'm doing with it yet. I just know that it's a cool outlet. It's also a creative outlet because I'm a writer and I like to write. You know what I'm saying? So even with my Tumblr, like even answering questions is writing to me and makes you rethink your philosophy. You know, because people are asking you questions, and the truth is, I know I look young, but I'm older than a lot of my fan base, right? And if I have a lot of fan base that is like teenagers or whatnot and going through a lot of stuff, there's things I've been through in the past, and if I can give like one little kernel of something that'll help you out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Why not? And if I can put it in a poetic way, because I'm a poet, and it's also helping your writing, or it's also helping something that a character that I'll write in the future. But it'll also help this specific person, or let alone hundreds or thousands of other people that are like reading it. And so it's kind of like, you know, there's so much that I think they learn from me, but there's so much I learn from them at the same time. And that's it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.